Hello, and welcome back to another week of discussions on spiritual topics and community sharing. Wherever you may be finding me at this time, I hope that you'll join the broadcast, drop questions, comments, stories, or just reach out to me personally if you happen to know me in that way. So let me introduce myself. I am Dahlia Rose, coming to you from what I would say is Gray, Virginia, right now. um, and I'm just coming on to share community, share some thoughts and experiences, insight on different topics that are near and dear to my heart, or at least that I feel called to share with you all. So, tonight is a discussion on channeling. Now, this particular topic, like I said, I'm on here discussing things that are near and dear to my heart. And channeling is an interesting one for a number of reasons. I hope that you'll feel called to join me over the next couple of videos because this could go in so many different directions. It is both something I've seen as a beautiful aspect of my life and a controversial one as well. I would love to explore this topic with you guys to demystify some things as well as, um, maybe bring new awarenesses, insight, and bring some sense of normalcy to this topic and others, of course. So, channeling, what could I mean by that? If you're joining us for the first time, um, this is, or at least coming across this spiritual topic for the first time, this is to say channeling, I would define that as receiving inspiration, guidance, messaging from an ethereal place or from something that seems outside of yourself. And I'm going to define what I mean by seems like outside of yourself in a moment. Um, but that is to say, for as long as humans have been in existence, we've received counsel, guidance, inspiration to uh, do or share or have different experiences when it comes to channeling as a concept. The most relatable place I think that anybody could find channeling would be in art. An artist wakes up from a dream and they go on to create what came to them in that dream, or they're sitting out and about and something, comes to them from an image or some other plane of existence. And then they go on to create from that space. And so they take what is received and they give it um, some physical reality, or at least if the art is poetry, it's given form with words. And so, across, like I said, across human existence, you may have come across channeling through art. And then there is, of course, the traditional spiritual realm of mediumship. Um, with mentors and people that have been that I've been blessed to have been taught by, a common phrase was uttered. Every medium is a channel, but not every channel is a medium. And that is to say, with mediumship, you're dealing with an individual who is able to converse with the dead, and other spirits and other beings, but primarily deceased human beings. Um, and from there, they're gaining wisdom and insight on situations or questions. They're gaining answers to questions given, and typically that's brought through in a medium's waking state. But as you'll see, the deeper this conversation goes, there's a lot of different ways to channel. Um, you know, in with human evolution, I think that we are getting to see more opportunities to channel more, to bring through more. And so it is my belief and experience that literally anything can be channeled. Everything has its own vibration, energy to it, and existence. And if you're not channeling a consciousness, you may be channeling information that is energetically tied to objects, much like psychometry. One of my favorite mediums, Carlos the medium, is really amazing when it comes to psychometry, and that is defined as putting an object in your hand and gaining information from that object that may be tied to the object's previous owner or what that object has been witness to in its existence. And so, like I said, literally we can channel anything. And so when I spoke of channeling being something that you are doing to pull through information seemingly from something external, I want to bring into this space of awareness that we can channel things inside of us as well. Um, One of my favorite kinky community people, Lee Harrington, brought this into my awareness as I attended one of his workshops, where he went on to talk about how we must have extreme awareness and be on the path of doing our personal healing work, because if we don't, it's possible to channel our egos. And what that means, and what I mean is how that can manifest is through spiritual narcissism, through people who push for control um, via quote unquote messaging from the other side or messaging from higher divine beings. This is not to say that they are making it up, because there are charlatans, of course, and snake oil salesmen, but um, there are people who are very talented human beings, and they will use their talents or gifts and abilities to only further their own cause rather than, um, support mankind. And that feels too big, rather than to use their efforts in helpful ways. They're trying to basically bring people into their fold under the auspices of control, uh, and any situation where you are taking from others, whether you are using your gifts or not, is harmful, and so not something that I agree with. And I would say intentionally being harmful, of course. There is always the realm of personality conflicts and disagreements, and maybe you have a mentor, and then you start to disagree with that individual, and so that's not really what I'm talking about here, but people who are deliberately attempting to harm others using control. That's not okay. And that would be a space where one might manifest channeling their own ego or channeling their own trauma. And so the spectrum of what channeling can do and be is very vast, very broad. And it felt important to talk about because as we travel down our spiritual path, as the world of spirituality expands for all of mankind, it's important to gain an understanding of what you are experiencing, what you are coming across, and knowing levels of control, knowing the importance of management and not just giving your power away. And so, as we journey together on this topic, we will definitely be touching on a lot of those things. And I would absolutely love to hear from you all and what your experience with channeling is. How do you define it if you've experienced it? And are there any significant stories in your life that you'd love to share with community here. So, if you've ever had a moment where you have felt in an absolute state of flow conversationally, or if you participate in energy work and you have found moments where everything just sort of clicks together as you are manipulating the energy or moving the energy through yourself or through a person in a healing way. If you have ever received information in a way that seems like it's flowing and it was crafted specifically for you, or one of my favorite aspects of channeling is receiving a writing from somebody through automatic writing or a channeled book. I mentioned that briefly last week, that channeled textbooks or channeled books um, do exist and they have a vibration to them as well. And so, if you've ever been in that sort of state of flow or received that state of flow from another person where it just seems like every word is precise and it, you can feel into what's being shared, then you've encountered channeling, and it may not have had that context, but I would say the foundation of it is likely channeling. Now, take a moment to tap into your memory banks and explore that. Share it if you feel so called. And if it's something that you desire to experience more of, I would love to know why and how you feel channeling might support you in your life, or if it has already supported you in your life, I'd love to hear about that as well. Just like everything on spiritual path, and when I say spiritual path, I think I'm going to say this every video. It just like everything on the path back to you. You have the capacity to do anything and everything in life. And there will be people that you come across, or even within yourself, where you begin to realize that you have a strong predisposition for some things. In the realm of channeling, there will be people that have a strong antenna, if you will, to be able to receive information and give it. And even those individuals do have to cultivate some skill in translating. My experience with this has been, in the beginning parts of receiving information, I can recall receiving things and not really wanting information about people just because it felt like prying or it felt like I shouldn't know what I knew. And I didn't want to freak people out. There was this weird space of wanting to fit in and be normal. And I can promise you that that space does not exist anymore. But in the beginning stages, receiving information is challenging if you don't have someone to guide you through that process, or if you don't have a lot of information on it and it is not common knowledge. As I went on with my journey of channeling, it became this beautiful gift to be able to share with others in a way that allowed people to gain a deeper understanding of themselves, to experience closure regarding certain topics in their life, or to uh, move away certain boulders that came in the form of stuck processes or deeply ingrained thought forms that felt mysterious only to be exposed as tied to a trauma that either I received visually through feeling or auditorily. Primarily, I'm clairaudient, so I'm a person that hears. And It's, it's, I always giggle because it's a journey. It's definitely something, if you have had the experience of clairaudience, I'm sure you may empathize with feeling crazy because you are essentially hearing things that feel outside of you. Um, but it's when it comes to channeling, there's such a beautiful opportunity to experience the world in a way that seems deeper and more meaningful and allows some understanding. It's not the key to knowing everything. And that feels important to say because there is a glamour that comes about with spirituality where it seems as if one can channel or pull cards or divine answers, that nothing will ever come as a surprise anymore. And fortunately and unfortunately, we're here to live. And so you can't know everything. You may get glimpses, um, but there's still mystery, and that's actually a beautiful and frustrating thing all at once. So there will be some out there that have antennas that can perceive, feel, know, or understand certain concepts that seem to have been lost over the ages, or that come to them despite never having touched the information through books or learning. And there will be others who can develop that strength. And it's not to say that one is good or better. It is just recognizing where you are if it is a desire that you have. You can both develop it and you can be born with a very strong antenna. How you receive the information is important as well. And channeling can come through feelings, it can come through sight, it can come through hearing, it can come through just an inner sense of knowing. And your different energetic anatomy is what will allow you to filter through the information. And your body, your physical body, is also a huge walking antenna for what can be received. So when you place your hands on things, your psychic senses are ignited, but first the cells in your hands and fingertips are gaining an understanding as well. So it's very important to remain embodied and fully present in your physical form so you get all of the answers instead of the pieces and potential inconsistencies. So just from this little section of time, you can probably gain a sense of how deep the rabbit hole of channeling can go, how complex it is, how beautiful it can be, how mysterious. And then there's, much like with everything, cautionary tales. Whatever the case is for you on a personal level, I hope you'll join me for the rest of our time together, these next couple of videos, just to explore the topic. Reach out personally through email, text if you have my number, or however you feel so called. But for now, I'm going to let your minds kind of percolate on the topic of channeling. What does it mean to you? How have you experienced it? There's a lot of channels on YouTube, so even after seeing this video, you can go down, like I said, that pretty deep rabbit hole. But I look forward to sharing more and expanding more with you guys on this topic. I just wanted to crack open the week and say hello and reach out on this particular subject. It's going to get interesting. So for now, I will say goodbye and happy healing, all.